Thanks for joining us once more on Housing Development. My name is Nomso Thelma. This is the platform where you get all information on happenings in the housing and construction sector. We also want to wish all our Muslim viewers a happy Eid al-Fitr celebration. Today on the program, we will take a look at expectations in housing delivery as President Muhammadu Buhari settles into his second term in office. We will have a housing expert speak to us on this. Of course, the citizenry are the ones to take into consideration as we address major issues in housing. So on the Vox Pop segment, we gave the opportunity for a few Nigerians to tell us their expectations from President Buhari's second term in the area of housing. We also have for you details of what you need to know about the 13th Abuja International Housing Show. But before we move on, let's go on this short break. We'll be right back with the news, so stay tuned.
Experts in the real estate have expressed worry that the sector, which recorded growth of about 2 to 3% towards the end of 2018, has receded due to uncertainty in the country. Nigerian Bureau of Statistics (NBS) in its first quarter 2019 report revealed that the GDP growth for the real estate sector was 0.93%. However, experts are blaming the government's policy of high mortgage interest rate regime as a major hindrance to home ownership among the larger population, while the prevention of money laundering and terrorist financing through property transactions policy of government has led to ideal money and liquidity issues in the sector, giving rise to the unoccupied buildings that have dotted major cities in the country. Reprieve will soon come the way of residents and motorists plying the Lagos-Badagry Expressway as Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has assured the work will commence this month at the Maza-Maza-Iba junction up to Okokome-Iko end of the road. Sanwo-Olu gave the assurance on Sunday during a tour of Badagry Road and other areas, saying work will be before the end of the year or early next year. He, however, warned that the market activities should stop at National Theatre to Maza-Maza stretch as to open up the 10 lanes in the access to traffic. Away from that, a report has revealed that 29 people died while 76 sustained injuries from 13 building collapse incidents across the country between February and May 2019. The series of incidents and deaths are computed from figures reported by the regulators or those confirmed by professional bodies. Meanwhile, tons of structural failures occur yearly are hardly recounted or get to public notice because there is yet no updated official statistics of building collapse in Nigeria. And finally, on the foreign scene, global city managers from 127 member states have adopted resolution as well as ministerial declaration at the final session of the first UN Habitat Assembly that ended last week at the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. The managers have declared to reform urban settlements, help frame the global urbanization agenda in the upcoming years, become global norms, policies to guide how cities and communities are planned, managed, and also governed. Meanwhile, Nigeria and 20 others of the Partnership and Pledging Conference pledged $152 million in contributions, and commitments were announced to finance UN Habitat's work to make cities inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable.
Welcome back. That was Housing News Updates with Chinelo Uzowuru. For details of those and more, you can check out our website at www.housingnews.org.ng. Remember, you can also download our Housing News app on Google Play Store. Now, moving on for today, May 29th was the official swearing-in ceremony for a new 4-year tenure. There are a lot of expectations for the next 4 years. In this expose, we shall take a look at the achievements of the administration over the last 4 years in the area of housing.
I am immensely grateful to God.
President Buhari, at resumption of office in 2015, decided to merge 3 critical ministries under one minister. The previously separate ministries of Power, Works and Housing became one under former Governor of Lagos State, Babatunde Raji Fashola, which led to him being dubbed by Nigerians as the Super Minister. On resumption of office as minister, Fashola assured Nigerians that he was up to the task. 4 years after, it is time to look over our shoulders and see what has been achieved. While speaking on his own performance in housing, the minister said public buildings like the Federal Secretariat in Zamfara, Bayelsa, Nasarawa, Ekiti, and the Zik Mausoleum in Onitsha had now been practically completed. On the pilot National Housing Program (NHP), he said it has led to a nationwide housing construction being undertaken in the 34 states where government had received land. He also stated that housing institutions like the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria (FMBN) and the Federal Housing Authority (FHA) have greatly contributed in the development of the sector, and that policies like reduction of equity contribution from 5% to 0% from those seeking mortgage loans of up to 5 million naira and reduction from 15% to 10% for those seeking loans over 5 million naira were helping to ease access to housing. One of the ministry's other achievements, according to him, is the reduction of the backlog of issuance of consent and certificates of occupancy to federal government's land, adding that a total of 1,216 applications for consent to transfer interest in land application and 1,300 certificates of occupancy have been approved and signed respectively as at October 25, 2018. While some of these are laudable, it has been observed that the houses built through the National Housing Program, for example, are yet to be given out, especially because their prices have not been determined. To address Nigeria's housing problems, especially its deficit, which many sources put at about 17 million, has been rightly argued that it will take a collaborative effort for reasonable results to be achieved. Therefore, this forms one of the major criticisms of the minister by housing stakeholders who think that the minister hasn't performed very well in terms of stakeholders' partnership. Also, as has always been feared, one of the drawbacks for the minister is the merging of the three major ministries. Sector stakeholders believe that more would have been achieved if the Ministry of Housing stood on its own. In comparison, one could see that more efforts were concentrated in the other ministries of power and works. This has now been set as an agenda for President Buhari as he prepares to begin a second term to untangle the ministries and hand them over to separate ministers in order to ensure specialized commitment. If that is done, the incoming Minister of Housing ought to learn from the problems that have been highlighted above and address them immediately in order to deliver affordable mass housing for Nigerians. Have you been working for a really long time and it's been difficult fulfilling your dream of home ownership? What are those factors militating against you owning a home? You can do away with all of those. Let's meet at the 13th Abuja International Housing Show on the 22nd to 26th of July 2019. Mark the date in your calendar and break those barriers. The show will have over 200 real estate developers across different parts of the country who will be exhibiting different categories of housing projects to your benefit. You don't want to miss out on this one. For more, you can visit www.ihs2019.org.
Now, housing is a sector in Nigeria that still needs a lot of input. What are the factors hindering affordable housing in Nigeria? In a moment, we will be joined by a housing expert, estate surveyor and valuer Geoffrey Tabansi, as he sets a housing agenda for President Buhari's next 4 years in office.
One of the most prominent features of your house is your roof. Your roof will tell how old your building is. At Plus World, we pride ourselves in having the expertise and products to bring your roof back to life. While other roofing companies suggest removing the roof, we restore the roof with warranty assurance. Let Plus World Roofing recoat your old and fading roofs and make your roofs brand new. Our products are eco-friendly and completely harmless to human and the environment. We offer services that will sustain your roof's integrity and by extension, your property value. This includes roof repairs and maintenance for residential, commercial, and industrial properties. Our roof restoration solution saves you up to 70% the cost of replacing your roof. Contact Plus World Roofing today. Plus World Roofing. Why re-roof when you can restore?
Welcome back. The program is Housing Development. If you are just joining us, with us in the studio today, we have estate surveyor and valuer Geoffrey Tabansi. He's a housing expert. He's also the former director of land at the then Federal Ministry of Housing, Land and Urban Development. Thank you for joining us on the program today.
Thank you.
All right, sir. Now, first of all, sir, in your opinion as a stakeholder in the housing sector, I want you to assess the last 4 years of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration in terms of housing.
Well, I would say that President Muhammadu Buhari actually put housing in his core agenda.
Okay.
But I would sincerely say, from the point of view of having experienced work in the then Federal Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, as it was when I retired, I will simply say that the administration did not do well as far as housing sector is concerned.
Okay, I'm sure you give us your reasons.
Yes, of course, the reasons are not far-fetched, in the sense that, to start with, is the fact that 3 major sectors were brought under one minister.
Okay.
There is no way he could have performed his best under such. And the worst is that it appears in Nigeria, the phenomenon of Minister of State doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any difference. Oftentimes you find that the main minister tends to do everything.
All right, now moving forward, since you said they totally failed in the last 4 years, I want you to set an agenda for the next 4 years in terms of housing. What are those key areas you want them to focus on starting from now?
The first thing should be to unbundle the 3 sectors. And again, instead of thinking of, even to support that, instead of thinking of Minister of State, let them, each sector, have a minister.
Okay.
That is full cabinet minister, and be able to focus seriously to the details of each of the 3 sectors.
Okay.
Then they would have been prepared to move ahead. Then again, as far as housing delivery, to the best of my knowledge, is concerned in this country, they must go back to the policy and the road work. The most they can do is they said to implement it, and there's an area of correction. It can be done. But to jettison the ideas that are in paper there, that we see work in other nations, and it's not tried here, it's not a good thing. Okay. So I think that is it.
All right, thank you very much, sir. That was extensive. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you.
The program is still Housing Development, and we have been talking to estate surveyor and valuer Geoffrey Tabansi, the former director of land at the then Federal Ministry of Land, Housing and Urban Development. Coming up next on the program is the Vox Pop segment, where we had to speak to people to see what they want for the next 4 years for President Muhammadu Buhari's administration in terms of housing. Just stay with us. We'll be right back.
What I feel the government can do to improve houses is to work on houses facilities. You know, when you look at the environment today, you discover that some houses are empty because of the nature of the building and because of the nature of the structure. How it's supposed to be is stood down, and what it needed cannot really be available, and that is one of the reasons why you see some houses are just like that, empty. And at the same time, they have to look at the house rent issues, because what it takes for a house, for house to increase in price is the facilities that are inside. But today, you discover that no much facility, yet rents are very expensive.
I applied for a loan from the Federal Housing Loans Board since 2011. I met all the requirements. Up till now, I have not heard anything from them. Federal Ministry of Housing in 2010, they had a program for low-cost housing for civil servants. We bought application, we bought forms. I paid application fee of 10,000 naira. Up to today, I've not heard anything from them. So it's so frustrating. So if me as a civil servant working for my country cannot get access to housing loan, I don't know what else they can do. I'm a contributor to the Federal National Housing Fund. We thought that through that program we'll be able to have access to mortgage loan. But today they will push you to the private mortgage companies. To the commercial, they'll give you commercial conditions, collateral, which you cannot even afford. And we've been contributing for decades.
There is need to do a lot of restructuring in terms of housing. Because you find out that you go to some areas, people are living in slum. Maybe the government can commercialize the aspect of housing and then subsidize it to be able for lower income people to be able to access houses. And then too, a lot of transparency need to be put in place in terms of housing. Because you go around this Abuja, you see so many estates that are there, people are not staying there, people are not living there. Who own this estate? So government need to find out who own all these estates that people are not living there. And then look at the cost of housing itself and see what can be done to make it affordable to ordinary Nigerians.
Are you tired of paying rent and want to own your own home? Then let's go to Abubakar Sani Bello Housing Estate for houses you can afford to own. The estate, which will be one of a kind among several housing estates in the country, is located at Suleja Madala Abuja Road, Rafinsayin, Niger State. The Abubakar Sani Bello Housing Estate has a unique three-housing pattern, which includes a 1, 2, 3-bedroom terrace duplexes. The prices range from 5, 11, 13 and 14 million naira respectively and are inclusive of infrastructure, external work and cost of personal certificate of occupancy. The estate, developed by Happy Homes Builders Limited, has all facilities that make up a standard estate, which includes school, clinic, road network, power supply, amongst others. Installment payment is allowed for those without mortgage. For inquiries, please call Happy Homes Builders on 080-9990-0582 or 080-5610-1978, or you can visit www.happyhomes.com.ng. Welcome back. Those were expectations of the average Nigerian from this administration in terms of housing. The program is still Housing Development if you were just joining us. Now, for those of you in need of a credible developer to turn your dream of home ownership into a reality, Urban Shelter is the place to go to. Urban Shelter is one of Nigeria's real estate developers. For more, let's hear from a representative.
Urban Shelter Limited has been working in the past year to develop a flexible payment plan that would allow its clients to key in easily. We have analyzed and reviewed the tremendous issues and challenges associated with the mortgage in Nigeria, and we thought that defining a flexible way for people to own a house is the way forward. In doing so, Urban Shelter developed the Stay and Pay program that allows you to move into your house and continue paying while you live into the house. So we thought that that could not only allow you to pay your house while living in it, but will also allow you to stay away from paying rent while you're trying to acquire a house. Urban Shelter Limited is located in Wuse Zone 5 at Shippers Plaza. It's very accessible. We are open literally 6 days a week. Our website, urbanshelternigeria.com, is really good resources to access to Urban Shelter, the different products that Urban Shelter offer, to get more insight. We do have general numbers that will be available for people that would like to reach out to Urban Shelter.
You can get a house at Urban Shelter Limited by calling the numbers displayed on your TV screen.
Welcome back. The Abuja International Housing Show is set to host over 200 chief executive officers from various companies and firms in the housing, construction and business industries across Africa and the world in July. Now, this will be the biggest convergence of such important figures sharing ideas, experience and expertise on how to lead a more effective and financially inclusive industry. Registration for the 13th edition of the show, which will hold from 23rd July to 26th July, has commenced. This edition will feature a CEO forum on the first day, which is the 23rd of July, to tackle several challenges, especially the recurrent ones in the housing sector. Let's show you what to expect.
CEO Forum.
The truth of the matter is anyone that actually can process a bank guarantee will be able to get the funds even though it is expensive. So most times those funds do come in, but the developer that should access it may not even be able to meet up with the requirements. So I think that's still a huge challenge.
Fixing the housing issue is almost like a giant jigsaw puzzle. There are so many parts to it. As you are fitting all at the same time, it only makes sense when you see the whole picture, the final piece of the puzzle. I think a lot of things that in line what you are saying, you are having this engagement behind the curtain, as I must say.
Ladies and gentlemen, she was the former head of service, former minister of housing, and she is a reverend. Ladies and gentlemen, incidentally, she was the first of our special guests to arrive here. Please celebrate with me, Ms. Amma Pepper. Can we give her a round of applause?
It is difficult if you have to buy land in the open market at the open market price. You have to do your approvals in the normal way, pay all the approval fees. You have to do everything. You have to borrow from the bank at the current interest rate. It is difficult to deliver the kind of housing that we're talking about.
A $10,000 house is affordable only to 38% of households if they can finance that product. A $7,500 house, less than 3 million naira, is affordable to only half, just over half. And Africa has some amazing experiences of how those things have come right in countries.
Today marks the beginning of a highly impactful opportunity for stakeholders in the real estate industry to interact, network, be inspired, make deals, and effectively participate in moving the real estate industry to the next level of its contribution to the socio-economic development of Nigeria.
Are you the CEO of a real estate company, building materials company, mortgage bank, construction company, and so on, and you have not registered? It is time for you to register now. There will be exchange of ideas, preferring of solutions to problems in the housing sector. Registration is on first come, first served basis. Now, for those of you who will be attending as visitors, you need to know that there will be a whopping discount for whatever is bought at the venue. So go register now at www.ihs2019.org.
Have you been working for a really long time and it's been difficult fulfilling your dream of home ownership? What are those factors militating against you owning a home? You can do away with all of those. Let's meet at the 13th Abuja International Housing Show on the 22nd to 26th of July 2019. Mark the date in your calendar and break those barriers. The show will have over 200 real estate developers across different parts of the country who will be exhibiting different categories of housing projects to your benefit. You don't want to miss out on this one. For more, you can visit www.ihs2019.org.
And that's where we wrap up the show today. You can go follow our social media pages on Twitter and on Facebook at Housing Program. Feel free to like our posts and drop your feedbacks and comments. We would love to hear from you. Don't forget to go register to be part of the 13th Abuja International Housing Show. Once more, a happy Eid al-Fitr celebration to all Muslim faithful. My name is Nomso Thelma. I'll see you next week.